For his part in a virtual suicide mission in the French trenches in 1915, Lieutenant John Smythe was awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest award given for bravery in combat. He and his volunteer group of 10 Sikhs were ultimately able to deliver 96 bombs to within 20 yards of the Germans' position. As he explains, they were not the first ones to attempt this seemingly impossible mission.
Now, the Highland Infantry were double our strength in numbers, and as the morning wore on, they sent back a party of about 15 men under an officer. None of them got more than about halfway. They were all slaughtered. And then, from our own trench, the Highland Infantry, a bit later on in the morning, they sent a party forward, and exactly the same thing happened. Of course, the Germans were lying up for them, and they were all killed too.
The very notion of sending another battalion into enemy territory seemed to be utter madness. Smythe, however, was only too aware that this would not detract the senior British command from planning another attempt.
And sure enough, the CO came on the phone, and he said, well, do you think you can do it? And I said, well, frankly, no. I've just seen 2 other people try, and they've all been killed. I can't really see why we should be any better, but of course, if I'm ordered to do it, I will.
Ordered to carry out the mission, Smythe would now face the equally daunting proposition of asking for volunteers to accompany him.
The proudest moment of my life was every man said he wanted to go.
As they set out on their mission, they faced a relentless onslaught of German artillery fire.
At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I, with my 10 Sikhs, dropped over the parapet and started on our momentous journey. I felt as though every German had got his finger on the trigger and his thumb on the button of his machine gun, and how right I was. An enormous cascade of fire descended upon us. But the Germans had made one mistake. They were quite certain another attempt would be made. And in addition to the riflemen and the machine gunners, they'd laid on a box barrage of artillery, which had the effect of throwing up into the air a lot of the corpses which were strewed all over the ground, and really creating quite a lot of cover for us. So although I lost 1 or 2 men from this first artillery barrage, it did give us more of a chance. Gradually, my men became hit. The rage that I had as a result of this really gave me courage to go on. And the fact that every Sikh who could followed me wherever I led. We eventually finished up, I and one Lal Singh, and eventually I arrived with 1 Sikh and 1 box of bombs in the front line trench. But that was just enough to hold the trench until dark. Unfortunately, Lal Singh was killed during that time.
Following the raid, Smythe was finally able to return to his own trench, where he stumbled upon yet another example of extraordinary bravery and loyalty within his unit.
I walked back to my trench right across the open, and on the parapet of our trench I found my orderly, Isha Singh, who had sat there all the time from 3 o'clock. He was the only person who was sure that I would come back. My death had been reported long before to the CEO. He stood up and he saluted and he said, "Wagaruji Kakalsa, Sri Wagaruji Ki Fateh," which was the Sikh war cry.
The terrible loss of life is something that haunted Smythe for the rest of his days, and he is left in no doubt about what contributed to the success of the mission.
All those Sikhs that went with me were decorated, every one. That has never ever been done before. They were all decorated with the Indian Order of Merit or the Indian Distinguished Service Medal. I didn't think that we had one chance in hell of getting any further than the other people had got. Still less, as there was no surprise about it at all. What kept me going was the courage of my men. I gave them leadership and they gave me support. And I wouldn't have dared to go back, even if I'd wanted to, with them treading on my heels. And they wouldn't have gone back whilst I was still in front. But it was a wonderful example of the trust that there was between the British officer and his Indian ranks.